Welcome, dear students. This session is designed for a sample to work on an activity that is based on a sample from Middle English. I hope by the end of this session, you would be able to work on any sample of the Middle English text to at least be familiar with it, to be able to identify certain features that you would find in it. Well, my dear students, for the current activity, the text that I have taken as a source is taken from the East Midland dialect. I hope you know that this was the East Midland dialect that was used as a standard English in London, and that developed as a standard English during the Middle English periods in the latter half and continued to the times. Well, this text is the Bestiary 1250. And the source from where I have taken it is A History of the English Language by Bow and Cabu that was published in 2013. Here on the screen now, my dear students, you can have a look at the initial part of the selected text. Can you try to read it? Let us try to identify some words as we see them, and let us try to pronounce them as well. Cathegrand is a fish. In some other texts, you would come across other spellings of fish. For example, in Chaucer, here it is this. Do you know what is this? Notice this symbol. We do not use this symbol in writing now. The symbol is used here as well. Let us try to read this whole line. The most that in water is, that to would, that is you would. Seen, that. If though it see when it float, this is float. The modern English float. That it were an dash. What is this where I have spoken the word dash? I hope you are able to guess. Island of modern English. Island. Here it is. Island. You know, you can notice this. That set on the sea sand. This is sand. You know, these sounds from the Middle English have now shifted from this O to this A sound. We now speak, instead of sand, sand. Instead of island, island. This is what we speak. I will show you the translation of this text for a fluent reading of that, so that you could have a feel of the text. The translation goes as: the categrand, that is a kind of a whale, is a fish, the greatest that is in water. So that thou wouldst say, if thou saw it when it floats, that it was an island that sat on the sea sand. So, you know, the whole narrative, goes with such a fluency as we become familiar with some of the words. We would look at some other part of the continuation of the same text. Here it is. I would just point out a few things. I would not utter them. I would like you to try to utter these for yourself, and then I'd show you the translation. Try to utter these. Try to make guesses what these are now. You are by now familiar with these. But what is this here? Can you pronounce that? Do you know what it is? Then. And what this word is, by the way. This is hungry, the modern word hungry. I hope you can identify now this one. Notice this sign is used with such a variety. And also notice how this vowel is used. noticed, did you notice this sweetest? What is the difference? A, this E ending that is given. B, the double consonant that is used here. C, it is sweetest instead of sweetest, as E longer in our modern English. What is this doing? That in a land. This is land. Notice this particular pronunciation, please. Land. This has now become a sound and is represented with this A. Also, I hope you would have noticed this E at the end. Therefore, other fish. Do you know? Here, this is used as a singular. Here, it is used as what? It is used as a plural. How the plural is made? Notice this particular part. S becomes double here. S plus S. And an E is added at the end. We will go for a fluent reading of this text that would help us internalize this all learning. Here goes the translation. This fish that is enormous, when hungry, gapes wide. Out of its throat it casts a breath, the sweetest thing that is on land. Therefore other fishes draw to it. I hope you find the activity helpful for yourself to, have a flavor of the kind of texts that Middle English had, and it would encourage you to explore Old and Middle English texts on your own and to see how Middle English texts represented certain features that were different from the previous varieties of English.